My first question is to Professor Morton, Mr. Lewis, and Ms. Lewis. In your testimony, you expressed support for the American Online Innovation Choice Act, how it deals with the digital market abuses. You've just heard a testimony by Professor Francis and Professor Kandub expressing a number of concerns with the bill. So I'd like to have the three of you briefly explain why you agree or disagree with Professor Kandub and Francis.
Thank you, Senator. I think that the digital platforms we have today have quite a bit of entrenched market power. When Senator Durbin said technology moves fast, yeah, it moves fast, but think of how many years we've been using Google search, getting onto Facebook.com, having an Android operating system. These platforms have been around for some time now. And that's because we haven't been able to use current antitrust laws effectively to create competition in this space. So we need an additional tool. And if a few words describing the competition, what competition means, is going to make this law pass for Professor Francis, then I think we're done. I mean, we've got problems, and we need solutions to those problems. A general purpose antitrust statute would also be good, but because the problems in digital platforms are somewhat unique to them and they're so entrenched, I think we need a particular tool, and this statute would be that.
Mr. Lewis, if you got something to add.
I agree. I think the ACOA is very specific in the anti-competitive harms that it's trying to solve, issues of self-preferencing, issues of tying, issues of control of data. And so I think the specificity that Mr. Francis is looking for is in the bill. Regarding the concerns about free expression is a core value for my organization. I believe that ACOA specifically targets anti-competitive harms, and I don't believe that content moderation on a platform, a single platform, is necessarily an anti-competitive harm. Discrimination.
You have other platforms to choose from.
Well, you do. Discrimination looks different on every platform, but the internet has infinite channels. And by promoting competition, we're giving users a choice of platforms to go to. And I know there's going to be another hearing on content moderation in the future. I think that's the proper place where if folks are concerned with too much or too little content moderation to address those concerns specifically. But this bill dealing with any competitive harms has a secondary impact that by promoting competitive choices lets users vote with their feet and go elsewhere if they don't like the moderation choices that they're given on a specific platform. So I don't think it's restrictive at all, and I don't find those choices to moderate content to be anti-competitive.
So,
Lewis.
thank you. So I do not agree with Professor Francis's analysis here. And I also, in terms of, there was a suggestion that adding consumer welfare, those words, into the statute of ACOA would be a good thing. I disagree with that. Consumer welfare is not a word that appears in any of our antitrust statutes and can be interpreted to be extremely narrow and refer only to harms from price. Now, certainly in digital markets, the harms go far beyond price to privacy and other non-price dimensions. So codifying that, I think, would be a mistake. I also find it interesting that Professor Francis has said that the current antitrust laws is what we should work with and what we should invest in. Those laws, those statutes, are extremely vague, very short. And the language that was used in those antitrust statutes, well, that was new language when those laws were passed. Because it was using a new phrase, does that mean we shouldn't have passed those laws? So I think that what I see as a somewhat unfounded fear of courts interpreting harm to competition in a way that would prohibit pro-competitive conduct, I don't think that that is a good reason to oppose this bill.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Senator Grassley, for your work on the bill that on the merger fees, but also for being